Hey everyone, this is Carbonite, and I'm coming at you once again with another premium fight replay. So today we've got myself on the right, playing my Big Belly Great Nature deck. The list is very much borrowed from Solemn Vanguards. And on the left we have Messiah Link Joker, actually, my buddy Alexis over there, rocking his usual premium deck. So looks like I'm going to be starting off the game. Just ride our big belly, or mini belly. Get that grade 3 search. We actually do see the big belly, which is really nice. One of the biggest problems with this deck is that if you miss your right target, you kind of just like flop over and die, and you can't really do anything. But it looks like Lex is gonna ride that. I think it's called like Dermaris Messiah. It is a 7K, so it is a 1 to pass. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work out for me as he gets a critical trigger, meaning that I'm already at 2. So going into my next turn, I'm gonna ride into that Spool Mary and just swing. We're gonna get nothing, that token generator card. So moving back to Alexis, looks like he's gonna ride just the Lady Fencer and swing. I'm already at 2, so I really don't want to take any more damage. So I'm going to OT to pass it. And he is going to be hitting a heal trigger. But thanks to that critical trigger he got earlier, I am going to be at 2, meaning that it is not going to be able to pop off. So coming back to me, I'm just going to be running that big belly that we searched out earlier. Don't forget to call out the Spool Mary with its skill. And next up, we are going to be just doing a little bit of offensive pressure. He is at 1, so I do kind of want to catch up a little bit in the damage race. I can probably push maybe at least 2 with this field. So we're actually going to be calling out that token generator. I always forget her name. She's the new card. And we're going to be calling out that Mike Sparrow and giving the skill and to her because she can retire herself during the end phase. And then we're going to call another Mika Saburo and give his skill to the Spool Mary. Got to spread them out just in case, for whatever reason, something happens to him. I'll actually be able to get that search off, at least one of them. So we're going to see one of my big misplays of this game. I'm actually going to swing with the Spool Mary first. I completely forgot that he totally had that Heal Guardian in hand. I honestly really should have just swung with the 17k column. That way Spool Mary, when it gets his plus 10k, would have been swinging for 24, which would have hit. And I probably wouldn't have ended up swinging with using the Vanguard skill to counterblast 1 and restand the Spool Mary, because he is just going to Heal Guardian once again, pumping up his Vanguard to 30, which means the Spool Mary can no longer hit. So end phase, typical Great Nature shenanigans. We're going to resolve a couple of effects. We're going to first off retire her and call 2 tokens, and then we're going to retire the Spool Mary due to her own effect. So the effect of both Mika Saburos, I'm going to be searching out 2 grade 3 cards. So once again, another misplay here from me. Instead of searching out that Trusted Rhinos, I got really greedy. I completely forgot about Burial End Dragon. I really should have searched out another copy of Big Belly so that I could rewrite and re-get my Axel marker. Because as you're going to see, not having that Axel marker is really going to be hurting me in this matchup. So really big misplay there, and it really slowed this game down to a crawl for me, at least. But we are doing pretty good. We got 4 rear guards and a heal trigger in hand, which means we can do the absolute nutty play of drawing 4 cards for nothing. And speaking of drawing cards, we did draw a two cards off that last end phase, thanks to the Big Belly skill. So it looks like Lex is thinking about what he wants to ride here. We can see he has the Alter Ego Neo Messiah as well as the Freeze Ray Dragon. So he is at 1, so that Freeze Ray Dragon is actually going to be pretty devastating on my next turn, because it's going to make it really difficult to actually push damage, because he's just going to keep locking my rear guards. So it looks like he is going to be going for that Freeze Ray, just being a little bit more defensive. And he is going to be going into that Burial End Dragon, the bane of my existence. And he's going to be using that skill, which is going to erase my Axel marker, meaning that I have to play just with my 3 rear guards, which is going to be really annoying. And it looks like he's just going to be swinging with that Burial End Dragon for a 38k swing, calling no rear guards. And we're just going to call that G Guardian, the Ardeo, and I'm thinking about what I want to retire here. I definitely want to retire the 2 tokens and the Mike Saburo, but believe I do have a Crayon Tiger in hand, so I want to keep one of them around to be a booster for Crayon Tiger. Once again, I think this is kind of a misplay, just because against Link Joker that can like lock your things, especially like locking your boosters, Crayon Tiger really is kind of a detriment against this deck because it can just like get so easily blocked if they get rid of your booster. So we're gonna be guarding with that RDO. It gets plus 10k shield since I've opened circles, 3 or more, and then we're gonna call another trigger, which is gonna be a 52k guard, which I do believe is going to be a 2 to pass. 2 10ks, that is. I don't think he's running a 5Ks, but it is just a 2 to pass. So we're going to see his triple drive. First, nothing. Second, nothing. Third, nothing. Full blanks. So I am totally safe on that account. So we're going to be going into my turn with that first stride turn. So I am kind of just like in a really awkward situation here. I didn't search out the Bigbelly, so I can't get another XL marker. So we're just going to have to think about what we're going to be striding. And I think like as odd as it is, I think the Magnetic Armor is the best play because we are going to have to play around that Freeze Ray Dragon, meaning that I can't really attack very much, especially since I only have 2 rearguard circles. We're going to be using that Magnetic Armor skill, milling 4 normal units, meaning we give 3k to across the board. I'm just going to stack it all on Spool Mary, and the Vanguard is going to get 1 drive because we did mill 1 trigger. So going to be swinging with that Spool Mary just to play around using its skill. Play around the Freeze Ray Dragon using its skill to pump itself up another 10k, which means this attack is going to be swinging for, I believe, 66. And of course, we're just going to resolve that Freeze Ray skill, locking the Spool Mary, and we're going to be swinging with 27, the Vanguard quad drive. We get a crit. Looks like Mika Saburo, Mini Belly, and Rhinos. So he's going to be pushing him to 4. It's going to lock my Mika Saburo, but it doesn't really matter because during the end phase, they are going to unlock. And actually, another really annoying part about lock is that it does turn off the ability for my rear guards to retire by their own effects, which means I am not getting that draw off of Bigbelly. So just overall really awkward matchup for me. So it looks like Alex is going to be riding into that Neo Messiah, and he's going to have to hard stride. It looks like he's running a little low on cards there, but thanks to just like all the draw power you have in Messiah, he probably shouldn't have any problem just replenishing that hand. And it looks like he's going to be going into that Baltus Messiah and using that stride skill, calling out the Lady Fencer. And I believe he is going to be locking 1 card on each side. He's going to be locking that Lady Fencer as well as my Spool Mary. Alright, so it looks like he's going to just be calling out the Dumas Messiah, swinging to the Vanguard, and unlocking his Lady Fencer, and locking my Mika Saburo. So I've got an entire column just locked down. We're just going to be taking it, and it looks like he flips over the first card, and it's going to be the over trigger, which is going to make, basically in this situation, it's just crit. He's going to get a draw trigger as well. Not that it really matters at this point because he did flip OT, so that other column is swinging for really massive, so we're going to take the 2 damage. No cards. Then this Lady Fencer is going to be swinging for that massive number, just the 100 million or 200 million, whatever. And that's obviously just going to be PG'd. And here I think I make another misplay. I discard the 1 copy of the Amazing Professor Bigbelly, the one that restands. Once again, I think that in this matchup specifically, the Grade 3 Bigbelly is a much better card to be having because it doesn't require that boost like I was talking about, which means it is not as susceptible to the Link Joker G guards as much as Crayon Tiger is, and it really lets you get that restand. Although in this situation, once again, I am unable to reride, which means I can't get back that XL marker. So restanding really doesn't mean anything in this current situation. Moving back into my turn, honestly, I'm in such an awkward position. It's really difficult to decide what I want to stride into, just because I only have that 1 rearguard circle, around 1 front row rearguard circle, and I'm still am not able to get that extra XL marker, which is making this so difficult on me. So we're just basically going to try and do whatever we can to search out that extra XL, discarding 2 Spool Marys for Stride, which is not great, but it's fine. And we're just going to be striding into that Catarus, mostly just for the power. I don't think that we can actually achieve that 30k threshold that is needed. Going to be calling out that Talented Rhinos that we searched out all the way back in. That could have been a Bigbelly. And using a Mika Saburo with the hopes of being able to retire it during the end phase with Catarus' skill and getting that search off so that we can finally get our Axel marker back. So Talented Rhinos is going to swing with the Mika Saburo boost. There's going to be a total of 32. He does achieve success at the very least, which means that he cannot be guarded by grade zeros. So that's a little bit of a saving grace. But as we can see in Alexis's hand, he does have that Heal Guardian. And if he is able to lock that Mika Saburo using his G-Guard's effect, we are going to be losing that boost. And the Talented Rhinos is actually just going to go all the way down to 25, which is his normal power without the boost. And as we see, we can go for that Cosmo Reef, lock the Mika Saburo. And that 26k guard is actually going to be just enough by itself because the Talented Rhinos is reduced back down to 25, which means that attack pretty much just fizzled. Swing with the Catarus next. Unfortunately, Talented Rhinos, as I said, he's only at 25, which means he is not going to be a valid restand target. So we're going to see in my triple drive check, I actually check that Bigbelly that I was looking for last turn, as well as the mini belly and a critical trigger, which just goes completely to waste because he did PG my attack. But I do get that grade 3 search. Since I do have the Bigbelly now, I'm just going to search out another Heal Guardian. Maybe use it for some funny things. Great Nature does have like really good G guards, so and thankfully we do get the draw off the Bigbelly, and my whole board is going to unlock. So I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get to the battle phase without anything locked, and be able to just like retire my board with a second Ardeo, just so that I can clear it, so I can actually make an actual attack. So moving back into Alexis's turn, it looks like he's going to be rewriting that Neo Messiah, probably just for the extra soul, as he does already have some stride fodder. And honestly, you just go through a lot of soul playing Messiah, so just honestly rewriting is not that bad of a choice. So it looks like he's actually going to be striding into that integral Messiah, which I'm looking at it as thinking like, oh, this is actually really terrible. Looks like he's going to be calling down that, I believe it's Sacrifice Messiah, with the Stride skill, locking my Spool Mary again, as well as locking his Dominus, and then that Sacrifice is going to activate, proccing its skills, lock itself, give something 3k, and countercharging. And then he is going to be proccing that Integral Messiah, so I have to shuffle back in. I think I had something like 7 or 8 cards in my hand. Probably even more considering how much I've been drawing and searching, and I just have to put it all back and just redraw 5 and hope that my 5 cards is enough to actually let me live through this turn, because he's going to be starting off that battle phase with a 15k Lady Fencer. I'm just going to guard with the Honolulu because honestly Honolulu doesn't really mean anything in this matchup. Sure, Messiah can like multi-attack enough, but with that Sacrifice Messiah, there's just like so much counter charge. You can just so easily play around Honolulu. So he's going to be swinging with the other Lady Fencer, 15k, so it's just another 5k guard, but I do only have 4 cards left in my hand, so being able to actually survive this is just really in question. So we're going to guard that Lady Fencer, and probably just going to be taking the Vanguard swing. Since I am at 4, I kind of just have to pray he doesn't hit a single crit, because he is going to be unlocking his entire board. He does Soul Charge a PG, which definitely nice. I'm glad he's not getting extra power, because I do only have 3 cards left in my hand at this point. So we're going to no guard that. We're going to see the Messiah, the Lady Dwarf promo, and a grade 1. So we're actually going to hit a heal trigger. One of the ones I shuffled back into my deck. I think I had like at least 2 heal triggers in my hand, and then they just went straight back to the deck, and magically I just managed to hit one, which really just like relieves the pressure. a lot. So this Lady Fencer that's swinging in for a decently big number. I mean, I only have 3 cards left in hand, so I really don't want to be wasting any of them if I want to actually do anything next turn. But it's going to hit. I'm going to get another defensive, and that Lady Fencer on the other side is not going to be able to actually hit. So during the end phase, D-Stride, cards unlock, Neo Messiah, Soul Blast, and draws 2 more cards. So we're moving back into my turn. I unfortunately still only have one front row rear guard open. That Bigbelly that I got off last turn's drive check just went completely goodbye, and now I have to try and search it out again. So I really don't have a very good hand, so I'm just gonna call out basically what are my best options. Go into the Blarl, decently big Blarl, can swing for pretty decent numbers. But we got the triple Mike Saburo in the back row. And not really much I can do. That Crayon Tiger is pretty much just there for an attacker. It can't really do anything on its own. But here I think I'm going to be making a pretty interesting play with the Crayon Tiger, just counting out how big it is with the Bolaro. I'm going to be using the Crayon Tiger skill actually on the standing Mike Saburo. It won't get to stand, obviously, because it's already in stand, but it does get an extra 4k and the skill that it'll retire during the end phase and draw me a card. So I'm mostly doing it just to get that extra draw, and also making it retire will get me another extra draw off the Bigbelly skill. So we're just going to swing that Mike Saburo, and we're going to see the last Heal Guardian come out, because he did Heal Guard with 2 earlier in the turn, and this is his second G guard, so that's all G guards out of the way. Looks like he's going to be locking just one of his rear guards with the skill of the G Guardian, and locking the Sacrifice with its own skill. So I'm just going to be locking the Mike Saburo that's on the other side just to block it. But looks like we're just going to be swinging with the Vanguard. Yet another PG. We did see him drive check that last turn, I believe, and we're going to get crit, and the Bigbelly that I was actually looking for. So we're definitely replenishing the hand little by little by retiring all the cards and using the Mika Saburo skill, searching out another grade 3. Looks like I'm going to be searching back out that Heal Guardian that got shuffled in last turn, hoping once again probably to retire my board. And with the Crayon Tiger and Bigbelly skill, looks like we're going to be drawing 3 more cards. So even though I started this turn with just like 3 cards in hand, being able to just like stride just definitely let me get all of those cards that I had lost from the Integral Messiah straight back to my hand. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Even though I am at 5 and he does have a lot of cards in his hand, I'm feeling fairly confident that I can actually survive this next turn. So it looks like Alexis is actually going to be going into the Link Joker GB8, because the game has gone on for just so long that we are actually both at GB8 at this point. So the Link Joker GB8 is really not that great in my opinion. Looks like we're actually going to, I think this is another misplay, because he used the Stride skill to lock the Doomages, I believe, and then did not lock one of my rear guards and just used the Sacrifice skill to pump something up. But in any case, he's going to be using the GB8 skill here, which is really mediocre. I think it's like Counterblast 1, and for each like card in your damage zone, you have to call a card from your hand as lock to an open rearguard circle. So given the current board state, the fact that I have only 2 empty circles, this GBA is really not doing anything to me. So I honestly just have to make sure that I can just live the attacks, and I should be pretty good to just like win this thing on the clap back. But we're going to be going for that idea to guard the rear swing, retire the 3 rear guards that are not locked, basically clearing my board and drawing the 3 cards off of the Bigbelly skill. And looks like the Lady Battler, the promo, I think she like unlocks herself and draws 2 cards when she gets locked. So yet another swing, but we're going for the Vanguard swing, just gonna get PG'd, discarding a card, triple drive, nothing, critical trigger, Looks like we're putting all effects on the right and another critical trigger. So both of these are swinging for decently big numbers. I mean, they're not too big, but it's manageable. But they're also both double crit, which means I really can't afford to take either of them. Although, given the size of my hand, I'm pretty sure that I'm able to deal with it. And the fact that that one doesn't even really have a booster and these attacks aren't honestly that strong. So, looks like he's going to be using that skill to draw 2 more cards, which is, ugh. But we're going to be swinging in with the other Lady Fencer. I drew into the OT, so we're just going to guard with that and pass it back to my turn. So I am going into this turn with no soul. My deck is actually getting pretty low. So even though I have the extra Bigbelly in my hand, I don't think I decide not to ride it just because I don't want to draw another card off the Axel and get like too close to deck out. But looks like we're thinking about Laurel, and then I realized that I don't actually have any soul. So I'm actually going to be going for my GB8 of my own, which normally would be pretty decent, but I think I only have like 4 cards in hand, so really its skill is not that impactful. So we're just going to be calling out our most powerful attackers, which at this point is just a Crayon Tiger and the Curious Pony, the Soul in crit. Assuming I live this turn and I do things, I guess I can get another soul. But that's not really what we're going for here. It's honestly just a booster. So anyway, using the GB8 skill, you discard 2 cards and you give, I think, one of your rear guards plus 10k. Oh no, you choose up to 6 of your rear guards and you give them plus 10k. So both of these, this whole column goes from a 13 to a 33. Which I think this is yet another misplay because he is at 4, so he can literally just like take this attack. What I really should have done is, since I still have like a decent amount of triggers left in deck, I should count on just like hitting them, stacking all the crits, because my Vanguard, since I do have 1 or less cards in hand when I activate the skill, he does actually get plus 40k power and plus 1 critical, meaning that he is swinging for a 67, which just going by off how many PGs he's used so far in this game, the fact that he no longer has any Heal Guardians, swing with the Vanguard first really is the optimal play. You kind of just swing here, stack everything onto Crayon Tiger, but I think I was still a little traumatized. So I think this is going to be like a 2 to pass, and we're going to flip over a heal trigger as the first, second check, a critical trigger, and a third check as a nothing. So that is going to be 3 damage. As I said, if I had gotten that crit and stacked it on the Crayon Tiger, I would have been able to swing for game regardless. But anyways, that's going to be the end of the match. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.